August is back to school season. Parents are buying pencils. Kids are getting notebooks. Teachers are preparing lesson plans. And comic collectors, we buying bags and boards like we got class 2. But technically, we do. Because every Tuesday night, I'm sitting here looking at the release list like somebody just posted a syllabus.
Okay, Absolute Batman got some required reading. Green Lantern is definitely on the midterm. Firestorm looks important.
Then I get to the bottom.
Miles Morales got a new #1? Damn, that must be Galactus.
Now suddenly I'm taking 18 credit hours. Comic collecting is the only hobby where you can walk into a store with a 5-book pull list and somehow leave needing financial aid. I know I'll be stranded at the register looking at my total like, is there a scholarship available? No, you picked 12 books. You added a variant. And then you saw someone on the wall and said, let me see that. See? That's the phrase right there. Let me see that. That phrase right there alone has destroyed more comic book budgets than inflation. Because you never say, let me see that, and then put it back. No, the comic book shop owner hands it to you. You look at the cover and turn it sideways.
And stick it straight up, you candy.
Catch the light, brother. It's over with. Now you own it. And then we start lying and saying it was.
This is for the collection.
Brother, look at me. Do you plan on throwing the rest away? They are all for the collection. That is what a collection is. An amalgamation of the things that we have bought. Then your speculation list makes it worse. Because speculation gives irresponsible behavior a business degree. Now you're not buying comics, you're investing. Warren Buffett is not calling. And today's award for unnecessary financial behavior goes to me. Because I'm gonna tell y'all, don't buy multiple covers of a book just because somebody tell you it's gonna be hot and worth something. Then Wednesday comes and I see a 125 variant. Suddenly I'm doing probability calculations. Well, technically the store ordered 25. No, stop. Put the calculator down. Then here comes Auntie Chase one more again.
Didn't you buy comic books last Wednesday?
You know what, Auntie Chase? I'm gonna just turn off your notifications because this is the 3rd week in a row you've been judging me and I don't need that. Mind your business. Because this week we got Absolute Batman #23. And then Manhunters finally reach Oa in Green Lantern Corps #19. And General Zod is taking over the Kryptonite Kingdom yet again. So go grab your pool list, check your accounts one last time, and welcome back to the Wednesday pool list. Let's head to the shop. What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the Pullpit, the weekly show where I break down my new comic book day pool list, give the writers and artists their flower, talk about what a story left out without spoiling the book, and decide what actually deserves your money. Because at these prices, I need references, I need background checks. So with that said, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe to the Melanated Report. And tell me what's on your pool list in the comments. And with that said, let's go ahead and get to the top of the list. First up on the list, we got Absolute Batman #23 with Scott Snyder on the keys and Nick Dragotta back on the artwork. And this is supposedly supposed to be a major turning point in the story for Bruce. And you already know if they brought back Nick Dragotta, then that means something important is definitely about to happen. Last issue gave us a deeper look into Harley Quinn's universe and pretty much gave us her absolute origin story. We learned about her connection to Arc M and to another very important character in the universe. I won't spoil who, but it's very big. And what I liked about it is that was very different from her mainline origin story, and it gave her more personality. It didn't just say, let's just twist up some things and make her dark. It gave a story that I could believe. And it makes sense for her in this universe. Also, in issue 22, Batman just was being pushed toward a point where everything around him was just starting to feel unstable. His enemies, his friends, his understanding of his own past, the people that he thinks that he can protect, even the people that's supposed to be on his side. Scott Snyder basically spent 22 issues asking, how many emotional support beams can we remove from Bruce's life before the building comes crashing down? And as we can see, we have not reached that limit yet. So now in issue 23, we should be having a very climactic ending with the Robins, and it with the falling out between Bruce and Harley Quinn. And DC has also been teasing that multiple dead characters are supposed to be reaching out to Bruce in this next issue, which is very concerning because whenever dead people start reaching out to Bruce, he does not act very well. Y'all read Hush? In this situation, a healthy person may say, I may need some sleep. But Batman says, I need to build a machine. No, Bruce, go home, eat something. Your deceased friends should not be assigning you side quests. But this is exactly why I'm excited. I mean, let's be honest, it take a lot for us all to drop off this Scott Snyder train we've been riding for these last 23 months. And I'm not getting off anytime soon. So if you're interested in everything I just said, Absolute Batman 23 might be for you. I know it's for me, and I'm gonna be picking it up. Next up is Green Lantern Corps #19 with Morgan Hampton on the keys and Juan Jose Reap handling the artwork. Now, if you're watching this channel, then y'all know that John Stewart is my favorite superhero ever, and that I love the Green Lantern. So Green Lantern Corps has been especially exciting for me. That last issue, brother. Morgan, that last issue, I gotta say your name one more time. Morgan, that last issue, you outdid yourself. You had the Lanterns make a whole Megazord in that, man. What would you think? Who said you could do that? Who said you could combine my favorite two things together, the Power Rangers and the Green Lanterns together to make a whole big Green Lantern Megazord? That last issue was amazing. You deserve awards. You deserve everything, man. Just go on vacation, man. Just feel yourself for that last issue. You did your thing.
Round of applause.
Clap for him, everybody. Clap for him right now. No, you doing. That's why you the man. And that's why you got that new series of Steel. Shout out to you for doing your thing out there, man. Clap for him again. Clap for Morgan again. Clap for Morgan again. I can't say enough good things about this series. It is the best of the 3 Green Lantern books that I am currently reading. By far. And that's no diss to anybody else, but I'm just saying, this is a Green Lantern series. And going back to the Megazord real quick, he had the Megazord had Joe Mullen hair, so it was a big black Megazord. Shout out to you, Morgan. I'm just gonna clap for you this whole video. But getting back to it, in this next issue, it's about to go down. The Aya version of the Manhunters have definitely reached Oa now. Guy Gardner and Jessica Cruz are right now trying to work with the emotional forces to try to get them to come together and help them. And if I ain't said it enough, is a big old Megazord ready to protect Oa. And getting back to the series as a whole again, what I really like about the series is that it's taking that Jeff John classic area that we all know and love and remixing it and making its own lore along with it. I mean, what else can you ask for getting a good comic book? And I know the time is on purpose that this is coming out and Lanterns is coming out on the 16th. So at first I was protesting it, but now I'm finally feeling the show again. Yes, I was one of those people who was against Aaron Pierre's casting, but I mean, he kind of making me feel like he Jon Stewart now. I do wish they chose Aldous Hodge, don't get me wrong, but I'm not gonna let that cloud my judgment. Plus, they got Tom King over there helping out, so, you know, they're in good hands. Some people are against Tom King, but I think they're in good hands. So again, I am biased about the Lanterns, but I think that this is a great series that you should be reading, and you should go pick up, because I will be doing it this Wednesday. Next up, we got the Fury of Firestorm number 5, with Jeff Lemire on the writing, and Rafael Delatorre on the artwork. And I keep saying this, but I think this is a book that's not getting enough conversation in DC, because in one of the last issues, Firestorm definitely wiped the floor with the entire Justice League. Well, not all of them, but a lot of the big hitters. And this last issue focused on a character named Lorraine Riley, aka Firehawk. She's been in the comics, but I'm not too familiar with her in any type of way. Conversation got really deep because we got the motivation for why Martin Steen actually created Firestorm. Now, I haven't read any of the Firestorm comics in the past, so I don't know if this is canon, but in this issue, they revealed that Martin Stein actually manipulated Ronnie Raymond into becoming Firestorm along with him. Ronnie was looking for a father figure, and Martin Stein was there for him and created the explosion which made Ronnie fuse with Martin in the first place. So there's a lot of revelations that were dropped. But also Stein is feeling a lot of guilt for what he did. But it's a little bit too late for that. So in this next issue, we'll be seeing Firehawk and Martin Stein going over to Pittsburgh in order to help Ronnie free himself from the Firestorm Matrix. Then there's a question of how do you stop the Firestorm Matrix without Ronnie Raymond inside? But I guess if he's split from the entity, then they can use more drastic measures, because they definitely need a heavy hammer to come and take care of this dude. And no, Superman can save them in this situation. So like I said, this book has been definitely underrated. The artwork, the story, everything has been dope. And if you're looking for a good read for Firestorm, this is definitely a good book to start with. It's only 4 issues in, so it's not too much to read. But I think this is a good book. I'm reading it, and you should be reading it too. And last but not least, on the top of the list, we have Action Comics 1101, or Mark Waid on the keys and Montos handling the artwork. Now, last issue was a giant-sized issue that marked the return of Superman. For those who don't know, he disappeared at the DCKO event, which everybody knows I'm not too fond of. No, I was not a big fan of the big WWE tournament. Moving on. Now, this is supposed to be the start of the conclusion of the reign of Superboys that has been going on in a couple books. There's this one, Supergirl, Superman Unlimited, I believe, and Superman. And then last issue, Superman, was Superboy Prime's last issue, which kind of actually made me sad because I really liked venturing off with Superboy Prime. Now, I know some people that have read Infinite Crisis are like, why is everybody so proud of Superboy Prime all of a sudden? That's because time heals all wounds, and this man is funny. But apparently we were supposed to be starting a war with General Zod as soon as Superman gets back. That was a hell of a welcome party. No cake, no Clark, just take a couple personal days. Immediately, Zod has taken over the country. Clock in, my dude. And apparently the young Clark Kent that's in this series will be teaming up with him against Zod, which is interesting because technically that's a time paradox, but comics. Anyway, I'll be picking this joint up, and you should all too. Now that concludes the top of the list, but moving on with the pool list, the next one we have up is Barbara Gordon Breakout number 4. By Mariko Tamaki on the writing, and I'm sorry, but the artist's name is too complicated for me to try, so I'm gonna just say, great job, artist. Now, last issue kept Barbara Gordon trapped inside the Supermax while she tried to piece together who attacked her and what was really happening to her inside the prison. All throughout this entire time, she was having a splitting headache. Now, I feel you on that because I actually wear these glasses so I don't let this light give me splitting headaches, in case people want to know why I wear sunglasses in the house. And this is the first issue where I was introduced to the villain Sparrow, who appeared in Batman number 11 a couple of weeks ago and gave Bruce a good fight. But to be honest, I am kind of disillusioned with this series after 3 issues because it's lost its steam. The last 2 issues were just a bunch of questions that I didn't really care to be answered. And honestly, right now, this just seems like a book where Barbara's really just reliving the trauma from her past. And it was ironic that I was reading The Killing Joke the same time as I read the last issue where they went over the Killing Joke. So it was kind of overkill for me to see that in that last issue. So that definitely probably influenced my opinion of that issue. But nonetheless, I'm going to pick up this issue and see what's going on to make sure if I want to drop this from my list going on. Who knows, maybe this issue will be something very exciting and answer a lot of questions rather than give me a lot more than I've had in these last couple weeks. It's not to say that it's a bad book and it's not the writing. It just hasn't been interesting me. But we shall see if number 4 shall save it from leaving the list. So technically right now, I'm not recommending this book. I will see if I recommend this after this upcoming Wednesday. Moving on. Next up on the list, we have Of the Earth number 4, with Chris Coden and Andrew Elwick writing and Charlie Adler on the artwork. Now, the last issue, we really got a big explainer on what was actually going on in the universe. If you read like the introduction, then you knew about the Wildcatter before they introduced it in this last issue, but now they actually introduced the idea of what they're calling a Wildcatter. And a Wildcatter is a part of the folklore of the land that's going around. That's all I'll say for now without giving away anything. What also makes this book interesting is that it says that all of the events that are going on are based upon real life folklore. Now, I really like the artwork in this book, and I like how it's talking about environmental issues while bringing a horror vibe to it. And they do it much better than that Mark Wahlberg movie. I can't think of it, The Happening. That was the name of that movie. This is much better than that so far. Because Grandma ain't looking too good. And I don't even want to know what that big oily thing was down in the basement. Well, actually, I do. That's why I'm going to read this next issue so I can figure out what it was. And also, they got to go find Grandma, because Grandma walking around with a kitchen knife and she just disappeared. So y'all got to find her before something bad happens. But if you're fans of The Walking Dead and you're currently reading the reissues of those, I think this is a book that you should pick up. Next up on the list, we have Power Rangers Limited number 2, with Joe Exposito and Kenny Porter writing and Federico Sorreza on the artwork. Now, this first issue launched this new unlimited format where they're based on avatars where the Rangers are from across different eras and timelines. They can assemble into one big team. And while that was cool for me, I have to admit that there was a lot of people popping up in that last book that I had no idea who they were. While I am a big Power Rangers fan, I stopped watching that one in like 2006 or something like that. I think the last actual series that I watched was Mystic Force, and I skipped a lot of them in between that. But the main book that can prepare you for this part of the series will have to be the fight with Lord Draken, the Shattered Grid storyline, because that's when they really introduce all of the Rangers from all the different timelines coming to defeat Lord Draken. And that's where you can get introduced to a lot of these characters that appear in this series here. Now, Trini was the main focus in that first issue, but I think they said we'll be switching to Andros and Corone in this next issue. And for those that don't know Corone, she was Astronomer on Power Rangers in Space. Yeah, I think she was the one villain that turned to the good side, as far as I know when I was watching. And there's supposed to be an appearance of a brand new villain that we have never seen before. So this should be interesting. I really like the Power Rangers series because it takes everything that we liked from the kids show and takes out all the goofy, campy stuff that we didn't like. Like Bulk and Skull have actual character arc in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. And the way they've redone a lot of the characters and stories have just been better. So yes, this book is approved for adults to read, because obviously I've been reading, even though some question my status as an adult. But anyway, the Power Rangers is always going to be right with me, and I'm recommending this book to y'all. Now, next up on the list is a group of mutants that I talk about every single week of the month. And I love every one of them niggas. Shout out to Jed McKay on the keys, giving us the heat every time. And Tony Daniels handling the artwork. Now, the last issue I actually really liked a lot because it gave us a little bit of a backstory on King Marco, a.k.a. the Juggernaut. And I like the question to ask. It's asked, how can a person who's been a bully, a villain their entire life, all of a sudden become an X-Men and be exonerated for all the things that they've done wrong? How do you handle all that bad things while doing the good things that you do? Do some people you try to save still see you as a villain? And how do you yourself come to terms with the fact that you've done so much evil in this world that you now have to save it from? Well, that's the current story of King Marco. And they really hammered in on the fact that he is not actually a mutant. It's only that the fact that he has those bands of Sidorak that he actually has powers. So how is it that he can actually stand on the side of mutants to begin with, because he's not a mutant? Jed, you answered these questions very well. He showed us that we should be heroic despite the circumstances, despite our differences, because those in need us. Shout out to you, Jed. You did your thing in this one. So now issue number 35 is supposed to be the prologue to the DNX saga that's supposed to be going on next. The only thing I know about that is that Magneto took this thing called DNX, and he's probably going to be the person that's being afflicted by whatever DNX is supposed to be. DNX gave him his powers back, but I know there's about to be some side effects. Otherwise, they would not have a whole storyline that's about to talk about it. So let's see what happened. It should be decent. And if that X-Men story does not entice you, then we have another X-Men story that might entice you with X-Men United number 6. Written by Eve L. Union and artwork by Tiago Palma. And this week joining, we have Evan Narcy and Edward Panasica on artwork. Now, the last issue proved that Iceman should never be in charge of any of the corporate retreats. He attempted to warm everybody's spirit with fellowship, but his plans fell ice cold. Yeah, I did that. Clap for me, y'all. Clap for me. All the teachers were left on another plane of existence while Grey Matter Lane was left vulnerable. And who other than the Shadow King will come into the conversation and attack the mutants? And if y'all know anything about Shadow King, you know you won't mess with Shadow King. Just ask Storm. All her life she been running from the Shadow King. Don't worry, my Mohawk princess. He not gonna get to you. But Shadow King tore through them teachers real quick, making them think that they are each other's enemies. But luckily they fought through it, and honestly, they came together to be stronger than they were before. So technically speaking, the team bonding actually worked. And they should actually thank the Shadow King for making them a stronger team. But I feel like it's always kind of hard to predict what's going to happen in the next issue of this book because it just feels like it's just one adventure with everybody after another. But with the X-Men being fractured between two books, this is the only book where they all can come together, so it kind of makes sense that they can just have a lot of different things happen here. So again, shout out to the creators of this book, Evel Union. I actually seen Tiago Palma down at San Diego Comic-Con. He was all booed up and whatnot. Let me stop telling this person business. Moving on. Now that actually concludes my pull list, but before we hit the register, let's go ahead and look at what we got speculating. First up on the list, we got Miles Morales Spider-Man #1, with Brian Edward Hill on the writing and Nico Leone on the artwork. And supposedly, it's supposed to be a whole new era for Miles. The previous ongoing closed out with Miles and Peter dealing with the closeout from everything that happened with the Ultimate Universe. But now he's back in Brooklyn, back to being our friendly neighborhood Negro Spider-Man, trying to balance homework, villains, and family. Apparently, they're giving a new boo too. Okay, I see you, Miles. Now, I, like everyone, hope that this is Marvel's way of preparing us for Miles entering the MCU, but we all know that won't be happening anytime soon, unfortunately. First, we had to get through the Spider-Verse if that movie ever comes out. But it really irks me that he will not be in Secret Wars, and pretty much for me, the whole point of that comic book was to bring Miles into the main universe. Yeah, it was a retcon, a whole bunch of stuff and everything too, but you know, that was my whole point of reading that. I mean, technically, we don't have a lot of characters. Molecule Man, Maestro, which is another version of the Hulk, technically. And we don't have an MCU version of the Phoenix Force. Technically, maybe that's how they introduced it, because technically Cyclops had it during Secret Wars, and then Doom takes it, and then Doom could somehow take it over, and then it released back into the universe and goes to Jean Grey. I don't know, I'm just thinking out loud. And if you're excited to see Cyclops in this new movie, if they follow the comic book line, brother, I feel sorry for you. But I have digressed a lot. I am excited to read Miles Morales #1. Correction, Miles Morales Spider-Man #1. And y'all should be too. Last up on the speculation list, we have Clayface Celebrity Dirt #2. With Jude Ellison S. Doyle on the writing, that's a lot of names, and Fran Galen on the artwork. And they got Dan Mora on the cover for this one. I'm not even gonna keep y'all. That #1 was weak. I don't know if I'm picking this one up. I'm gonna have to ask my homie at the shop if it's gonna be worth this one, because that last issue was not it. Now that movie is starting to look better and better and better, but this comic book is not it. As we say in Chicago, it ain't hitting for nothing, for. And that's okay. Every book ain't got a hit, and that's why we have a speculation list, because everything can't make the pull list. It's an honor for me to subscribe for you every month, so when I walk in that store, it's already ordered for me. And next book, this book is not gonna be ordered for me. They talked about 4 or 5 different Clayfaces, and I don't know all about the Clayfaces, so it was just confusing to me. At this point, I'm just going on and on, but I'm ready to see the movie now. But this book was not it. Depending on my budget when I get there, I might buy it just to see if it's not it officially, but right now, this ain't it. And with that said, that is my pull list for August 12th, 2026. Now I want to hear from y'all. What made y'all pull list, and what are y'all reading first? And before we get out of here, I have to do a special shout out to all of my Leo brethren. I may or may not be having a video coming out next week because I'll be doing some traveling for my birthday, but I will do my best to try and drop it before then. And that's why it's important that you hit that like button and subscribe to the Melanated Report and hit that alert button so you know exactly when my videos drop, so that I can keep y'all updated. Now with school back in session, our homework for this week is for y'all to share this video with at least 4 of your friends who said they only gonna be buying 2 to 3 books this week. They lying, brothers. They lying. But until we meet again, stay locked in, stay melanated, and happy new comic day, y'all. Peace.